You know, something that's really impressing me about the 1.5 format in the Digimon TCG is that it's constantly changing, and because it's constantly changing, new decks are popping up out of the woodwork that we never thought were viable and actually taking down tournaments. Today, we're talking about one of those decks. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Steven Rodriguez. I'm your true champion, and that is right. I went undefeated this past weekend using red CresGarurumon. You're hearing me right. Red CresGarurumon. Before I get into anything else, huge shout out to Zach, I believe the young man that originally piloted the list that I saw in the video that I watched that inspired me to make this deck list. I'll leave a link down below in case you want to see a different take on Red Crest than the one I'm about to show you. While our list may be a bit different, the core principles are pretty much the same, and I will go over some of the key cards that I think could be replaced with other things, as well as some things that I might want to change in my list, even though I did go 5-0. Honestly, I'm just super happy that I was finally able to put CresGarurumon in a deck and get a W with him in the 1.5 format. I have been dying to do that ever since he came out. If you guys are excited for the continuation of some awesome Digimon content, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell for notifications so you know when my videos go live for you. And be sure to let me know down below which deck I should try out next if you know of any spicy ones that exist out there. And if you have any lingering questions or want to see me use these crazy decks live and in person, be sure to follow me over on Twitch. I go live every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and I play this game non-stop. Feel free to stop by and hang out. Link is down below. But without further ado, I think it's time we checked out my red CresGarurumon deck list for the Digimon TCG. Alright guys, let's begin. Alright boys and girls, here we are at the tabletop setup, and let's head to the card by card, starting off with our 5 Digi-Eggs. We have 4 Digimon and 1 Koromon. Like I said, this is a red CresGarurumon deck. We're playing a majority of red cards, and a really cool thing about playing this many red cards is its amazing DP gain effects. And these are just the most generic and most consistent DP gain effects that can actually apply to our cards, so we're maxing out on them as possible. Gigi's way better than Koro, but Koro does come up as well because we are playing a more standard evolution-based deck. Been a while since we've done one of those. Moving away from the level 2s and on to the level 3s, we're playing a full 14. We have 4 copies of Agumon and 2 copies of Gyumon as our generic DP gain. I have considered cutting the Gyumons for 2 more 2-drop vanillas because I do like the efficiency of those cards, but overall this works. This plus one of the eggs can make your Crest 13k and just let it linger on board every single turn with that reboot, thus demanding removal spells, and while you're already gaining value on board thanks to Crest's on Digivolve effect, it's super awesome. Moving on to probably my favorite level 3, we have 4 copies of Biyumon. This is really good to enable some 4 memory plays with your Cresses, your Gallantmons, your Tai Kamiya Tamers, etc. Or it's actually probably the best rookie to call off a Cress's effect because it can be a memory for you later on. So you can sort of make CresGarurumon an extra body plus an extra memory effect thanks to this, which is super cool. And then of course we have 3 copies of Mono and 1 copy of Biyumon for our vanillas. I couldn't find a 4th copy of Mono to make everything synergistic, but if I do end up playing 2 more vanillas over the 2 Gyus, I'll just play 2 more Biyumons, and then it can be synergistic and not make me cry. Yeah, but that's it for the level 3s. Moving on to the level 4s, we have 4 copies of Dark Tyranno and 4 copies of Cordra. This is just super standard right now. Blockers for defense, really good against Rookie Rush, and just overall stalling the game until we draw the cards we need to actually achieve our bigger pressuring combos. And then, you know, Dark Tyranno for building up our chains very efficiently while also choking our opponent whenever possible and being a super high DP body. With the power gains we have, we can easily make this guy 8,000 DP, which can swing over a lot of level 5s in the game, which is super dope. And then rounding off our level 4s, we have 3 copies of red Tyrannomon. Man, it's been a while since I've used this card. So if it hasn't been made clear to you yet, the main idea of this deck is to get a bunch of free superior calls off of CresGarurumon's on Digivolve effect, and this is one of the best level 4s you can call off of his effect because he's a jammer. So once he comes into play, you can just start swinging with him and he just lingers on board, while all your other stuff should be lingering on board too because it's really big and has reboot and thus cannot be swung back into, and so you just keep building and building and building your board until you finally just kill your opponent. This is essentially a red advantage deck, which is pretty cool. And having things that can linger, like Red Tyranno, is super cool. Also, some bonus cool things about Red Tyrannomon is if you do draw him early, he's a 4-cost Digimon. So if you ever have your Taikamiya in play, you can play him for 4 and then choke them at 1, which is super cool. Or another cool thing you can do with him is if you say have 2 memory, you swing with him, he stays on board, you evolve into like a Lava Garadimon, go to 0, and then you evolve into your CresGarurumon, give your opponent 4, get another free dude in play, and then this restands. So you got a free damage, and your dude restood, and then you played another dude on your board, which is just a really nice sort of tempo play you can make with the Red Tyrannomons that you can't really do with other level 4s. Zach, the guy that I saw originally using this deck, he played the Red Security Greymon instead of Tyranno to help combat Rookie Rush decks, and I totally agree with that mentality and how it can help with that, but he mentioned that this card might be actually better, and after testing it, let me tell you, this card is awesome. I highly recommend you try it out, but anything like Starter Deck Greymon or Security Greymon would also work as well, so feel free to experiment. Moving on to our level 5s, and this is where this deck gets really toolboxy, really advantageous, and overall just really cool. We have 3 copies of Lava Garadimon, 3 copies of Metal Greymon, the Memory Borrower. Seeing this card and being able to play it again gives me tons of 1.0 Gallantmon vibes. I'm excited. We have 2 copies of Groundramon, 2 copies of the Secret Rare Metal Greymon, and 1 copy of Skull Greymon. So first things first, we have just the efficient, way to build up our chains, choke our opponent's memory, level 5s, standard stuff, but then we got these boys, and these are like the best things to call off of CresGarurumon because this can facilitate even more CresGarurumon plays / Gallantmon plays. This can keep your dudes buff. Like I said, we love to keep our dudes buff, and if you ever go from this into a Cres into a Millenniumon, the Millenniumon actually has 16,000 DP and can swing over Rested Omnis, which is very broken. And then of course we have the Skull Greymon for that super awesome wombo combo. Hey look, CresGarurumon. Hey look, Skull Greymon. Play it for free, blow up an opponent's blocker. Really nice in the late game just to facilitate just an overall final push. Now, you keen observers out there will notice that I have 14 level 3s, 11 level 4s, and 11 level 5s in this deck, which is pretty weird. But because we're playing a CresGarurumon deck, and level 5s are like the best thing to call off of CresGarurumon because A, they can become more CresGarurumons, or B, become other really cool utility level 6s, the more we can fit into our deck and keep it consistent, the better. So that's why I like the higher than average number of level 5s in this deck. And this lineup has been working really, really well. I do want to experiment with like cutting the Skull Greymon because it doesn't really come up that much, increasing the number of Lava Garadis, but the thing I'm probably definitely going to try once I get my hands on 3 copies of the Secret Rare Metal Greymon is cutting one of these for one of these, because honestly this card is really stupid and kind of important. If you ever do face Megazoo, he can come up a lot more than you might think. So I definitely want to experiment with playing 3 of him. I just don't have 3 right now, but when I do, I'll definitely try it out. And moving on to the level 6s, the reason why I built this deck, we have 4 copies of CresGarurumon. Now, in case you guys don't know, he has 2 effects. The first one is Reboot, so he unsuspends during your opponent's active phase, and the second one is when Digivolving, reveal 1 card from the top of your deck for each Digimon your opponent has in play. You may play 1 black or red Digimon card with level 5 or less cost from among them without paying its memory cost. Place the remaining cards on the bottom of the deck in any order. So basically, when you evolve on top of him, you count how many dudes your opponent has in their battle area, you reveal that many cards. If you reveal any level 5 or below, you can call one of them that you want and then put the rest in the bottom of the deck in any order. He's actually a red card that can build your board, and against decks like Shine Greymon, against decks like Yellow-Red Security Control, being able to have the pressure that red does while also gaining board is super cool. And when you can combine that with the ability to actually attack with this boy and then restand him so that way he demands a removal spell of some sort instead of just being attacked back on your opponent's turn, you can just keep everything lingering and just keep the pressure going no matter what you're playing against. The deck is weirdly good at just building gigantic boards, and in this format right now, which is kind of slow and really removal reliant, being able to build boards and build boards as pressuring as ours is really, really huge. And the best part is, because CresGarurumon is black, we're actually able to play the best card in the game, Millenniumon, in this deck. And I cannot tell you how many times this weekend I evolved into Millenniumon, and it was the most broken card I've ever played in my life. This is probably my favorite card to mess around with in this format. Every time I get him into play, I swear I win the game. So it's just so much fun that I can finally play this in like a mono red deck. I really like these 6 cards being teched in here. I think it keeps the deck fast. I think it keeps the deck strong, and this tech is really good. It's so good right now. There's a reason why I said any deck that can play Millenniumon is a good deck in my tier list video the other day. There's a reason why. Now, that being said, this deck is not just the quad CresGarurumon show. We do play some tech level 6s. We have 2 copies of Wargreymon and 1 copy of Gallantmon. The main reasons these cards are in here are so you can play well against yellow-red security control. I mean, this just kind of hard counters it, and this is actually really helpful in the late game, just to kind of finish them off. So I do like both of these cards a lot in here for that reason. He's also really good against Rookie Rush 2, and also just against like generic green or blue stuff that has like really annoying security cards. So that's really cool. However, if your meta is more rush focused and less like control focused, definitely consider playing like Volcanic Dramon or Blitzgreymon, or really whatever you want in these like last 3 slots to help round off whatever meta you're playing against. These cards are not needed. Most of the time you do win the game just by having a super wide board with Cress and just slapping a Million. So this is definitely open for your own personal choice. I might even experiment moving forward with some Volks in here, because I feel like your worst matchup is the more aggressive decks like Rookie Rush, and that card can definitely help. And then rounding up our Digimon, we do have 1 copy of Alteress. The only bad thing about this deck is that CresGarurumon actually is not a red card, so we can't play Set 1.0 Omni, and so we're kind of stuck playing Alteress and Millenniumon, where these cards are really good when they come up, but a card that can just like take over a game is the red Omni, and I would like to include it in this deck, but sadly it's just not consistent enough. These cards can evolve most of the time, and whenever you do get Alteress off and you get that board wipe, you do most of the time win, so it's no big deal. 1 is more than enough. So yeah, that's it for our Digimon. We're actually playing a ton of Digimon in this deck because the only cards that you can't call off of Cress are level 6s, 7s, and options and tamers. And so we're kind of minimizing those as much as possible, so that way we can always get procs, because sometimes you do have to just top call, and if you whiff, it can feel really bad sometimes. But I think out of 15 times of evolving into CresGarurumon, I whiffed, I think, once. So this list so far has been super consistent at just keeping the board nice and filled up, so don't worry too much about that. Rounding off the deck though, we do have 2 copies of Red Taikamiya and 2 copies of Gaia Force. The more decks that are played, the more like games that we play in this format right now, this feels like the lineup that red decks are going for, and in this deck, it's super nice. Red Taikamiya is nice for not only enabling Gallantmon to actually proc or giving Wargreymon yet another security check, but he allows us to be on 3 memory, which can combo really nicely with CresGarurumon. Being able to play this guy and then play another guy while choking your opponent at 1 is a really nice tempo swing, so this is actually a super nice card in this deck. And then of course, 2 Gaia Force deals with like pesky things that we're too afraid to deal with, or things that we want to deal with but we can't like climb into a big Millenniumon play. It's actually super useful. Having Millenniumon to deal with like the super annoying things like Craniumon or other Millenniumons is actually what makes this deck really appealing to me, because now red actually has an answer to those things, which normally, you know, Red Omni or other red variants normally would not have an answer to those things. So I actually really do like this lineup, and so far the deck has been super consistent. I think I'm currently 18-1, but I haven't actually lost a single match with the deck, so I really like this strategy. I want to keep testing. I want to see how it does against like some more like just aggro decks like Mega Zoo and other Rookie Rush things, but for now it's feeling super good. I highly recommend you try it out. It's pretty fun. And boom, there you guys go. Thank you so much for watching my take on Red CresGarurumon in the Digimon TCG. If you guys did enjoy, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell for notifications so you know when my videos go live for you. And if you have any lingering questions, be sure to follow me over on Twitch. I go live every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, spend tons of time playing this game and playing in tournaments. Feel free to stop by and we can always hang out. Link is down below. But with that being said, I've been your true champion, Steven. Please be sure to work hard, rest easy, and live well. And I will see you all next time. Peace.